How about now? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me now? Alright. My bad, I forgot to connect my microphone back. That's why that happened. Can you still hear me? I will give me some questions. That's what I'm here for. How's everyone doing today? Anyone drafting this weekend? Let's see if we could get a few more folks up in here. Last time it got pretty cracking. Welcome, Javon. Nice to have you here. Thank you for letting me know that the microphone is working. This is only my second live stream. I'm still figuring this out. Ugh. Friday and Monday, what are your settings? Thank you, Mateo. If anybody was in the last live stream, there was a hater there, and I got triggered, and that was wrong of me. No more getting triggered. We have to be emotionally intelligent, and I was not. So sorry. I'm keeping it strictly fantasy basketball, positive vibes only. Number one pick in the startup head-to-head points dynasty league. Ooh, that's exciting. Let me guess, you're taking Luka Doncic? Brother Dino's in the house. He's going to be drafting this Sunday. Out of the four possible players, who would you take in Westbrook, Embiid, Beal, Booker? This is for ESPN Points League. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a bit of a Russell Westbrook hater. I don't know that I'm the best person to ask because I normally tell people to not draft him. I personally don't draft him. He's a little better in points leagues for sure, but oh, you were at the one. Okay. Yeah, I still got one right here. I don't know if you can see it. He's right here. He always has my back. But anyways, the thing with Russell Westbrook is he's going to be missing a good amount of games because he's sitting back-to-backs. He's not going to be playing in any back-to-backs. And, well, he's going to be playing one game of every back-to-back. So he won't be missing both games. But that right there is going to put you at a disadvantage any week where he has a back-to-back because he's not going to be playing. So that, unless they do the same load management with Bradley Beal, which I don't assume they will, my guess is that you want to avoid Russell Westbrook. Even in a points format, which is a better format for him. Thoughts on Rubio's value? I guess it depends on what role he's going to have. I haven't seen him starting yet in preseason based on my analysis. If I'm wrong, somebody can correct me. If he gets the starting role, which I think he should, I think he's by far their best playmaker. He doesn't need to score. He just needs to pass the ball and playing with Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell. There's really no need for him to do much scoring, but he just makes the game easier for people out there. And my guess is they would start him. I would start him. And if he's starting, I think he has value. Now, you want to keep in mind, though, with Ricky Rubio, he tends historically to start off pretty slow. And people tend to be impatient because he may start off the first few months killing your field goal percentage and just not doing what you expected. But he repeatedly, towards the end of the year, ends up being a top fantasy producer. All right, let's see what other questions we got here. Would you rather have Toppin or DeAndre Jordan? Ideally, I would rather have neither one if I'm going to be honest. But it depends what you need. If you need a big man who's going to get you rebounds and like 65, 70% field goal, maybe 8 points, 9, 10 rebounds a game, his shot blocking has gone down significantly with time. But if you need a center, I would definitely grab DeAndre Jordan instead. If you're in a dynasty league, you definitely want to go with the young guy. You think I should draft Kobe with any of my picks? Yeah, honestly, he's starting on that team. He's going to have a ton of opportunity there. He had an amazing game last night. Him and Zach LaVine seem to work really well off of each other. I see absolutely no reason why you wouldn't draft him. I haven't drafted him yet in any teams, but I'm really excited by what I've seen from him so far. I think he can have a really good season. He's a guy who's going to get you a whole lot of threes. Now you're going to have to stomach some bad games. I think he's going to have some really great games. And then there's going to be games where he's not as helpful. And before we continue too much, if y'all could all do me a favor, as you can see down there, that is my website. You can check that website out. I currently have a podcast version of the videos I'm uploading for those of you who prefer podcasts. I know there was a few requests for it, and I went ahead and did that. I also have some articles there. One article you can read right now is how to master trading in your league. That article should be really helpful to you because drafting, I want you to get in your head that drafting is all about collecting assets. You want to collect the most assets possible, but you have to understand every draft pick you make isn't going to pan out. So at some point, it really helps if you're good at trading. And to be good at trading, there's some key points you need to keep in mind. And you can find those down there, BarackLesnarHoops.com. Also, if you have not yet, do me a favor, please, and give your boy some thumbs up. Like this video, subscribe, like, share it. That would mean the world to me, and it would help this channel grow. And I hope you like that. Look, I got effects. No more green screen behind me. I learned so that I can make this fancy for y'all because you guys deserve the absolute best. So let's... You see? Look, I got tricks. All right, well, let's go back to the questions. You think I drafted last Saturday with the 11th pick for 9 category leagues? Let me know what that team was, Adam. And Luis Rivera. Is it good to pair Lillard and Beal? Absolutely. That is a great pairing. They're going to get you a lot of threes. They're not going to help you with your field goal percentage, but they're going to help you across the board. What I really like about Beal, he has really good steals and blocks potential, and he's pretty underrated in that regard. His ability to get you, I think he got close to a block per game last season, if I'm remembering correctly. And when he was playing, he was like a top 10, 11 player. People are concerned about Russell Westbrook impacting his value. So you could probably get him around the 15, 16 range. So I think that's definitely a good idea to pair both. And Mateo, did I already tell you it's my first fantasy draft? I don't know if you mentioned it to me, but that's very exciting. And if you've been watching this channel, you're going to be way more prepared for your first draft than I ever was for mine. All right, so Adam, I've been doing punt, assist, and steals for the past 3 years. Rate my team this year. Booker, Kawhi, Ayton, Nurkic, Whiteside, Hield, Brook Lopez, Sexton, Bojan, Bagley, Norman Powell, Clarkson, and Baisley. Let's see. Nurkic, Whiteside. I like that team a whole lot. Baisley, and what format is this? Remind me, how many teams is this? And by the way, before Adam tells me how many teams this is, which he may have already said, everyone give a shout out to Zebra Che. That is my son. It was his birthday yesterday. He just turned 9. Normally, I don't encourage children to be on my stream, but that's my boy. So, you know, y'all take good care of him. Be nice to him. And if you have kids that like Roblox, he has his own channel. My kids have a channel. It's called The Zebra Nerd Herd. So check them out. Dino, Brother Barack, the league you're running, it's in 9 categories. Yahoo, do you still have an open spot? PayPal, Venmo. As of now, I only have email, cell phone. Let me know. Thank you. Yes, there are still spots in my cash league. You can access that via my Facebook page, which you can find down there via Barack Lesnar Hoops. If you go all the way to the bottom, that's one way to access it. But Dino, if you directly, if you give me your email address, I'll definitely get you an invite and we can work something out. You can email me those funds so we can get you in the league. And I want you guys listening, if there's any of you who want to play in that league, it's only a $25 buy-in. I've had people ask me if I could raise the amount, but I want to make it as accessible as possible. I know not everyone just has $25 ready to go. It has been a pandemic. A lot of people have been heavily affected. So if you have $25 and you want to compete with the likes of your boy and some other really tough competitors and subscribers from this channel, please strongly consider that. Good looking out, everyone, for wishing my boy a happy birthday. That means a whole lot. I'm sure he's digging that right now. So it's a 12-team, 9-category league. I think you could do better than Baisley with your last pick. Baisley, someone I would watch from the waiver wire. Other than that, that's a really strong team you put together, Adam. All right. Let's see what other questions we got. Who to pair with AD, 9-category, 12-team head-to-head. Anthony Davis. Normally with Anthony Davis, I pursue a punt assist build. I like the idea of pairing Anthony Davis with other guys who are going to get me threes, that are going to get me steals, that are going to get me blocks. He just helps you in so many different categories. And with Anthony Davis, you want to protect your free throw percentage because it's a huge advantage of his. So somebody I've been considering pairing him with. Bam Adebayo. His free throw percentage isn't the greatest, but it's not awful, and he gets you a good amount of steals and blocks. Those are 2 really good picks to start with. There's also DeAndre. He works really well in a punt assist build. And in that following round, you could grab somebody like Joseph Nurkic. If you're able to those 3 big men to start, you could focus the next few rounds on your guards. And I think you're going to have a really strong team. It's going to block a lot of shots. It's going to have a good free throw percentage. You might also want to consider a light 3-point punt with Anthony Davis. Not punch it completely where you're the worst, but if you're maybe in the top 6 or 7, that's preferable because it'll allow you to really build a strong team around Anthony Davis. All right, what other questions do we have? Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez for Kyrie. Who wins? On paper, Kyrie Irving's the better player, and I don't think that's a terrible trade offer for him. The problem with Kyrie Irving is he's just injured often. He's been injured for large parts of the season for several years now. And with those sort of players, history tends to repeat itself. So I tend to avoid Kyrie Irving because almost every year that I've picked him, he ends up injured. When he's playing, he's a top 10 player. There's no doubt about it. He's one of my favorite players in the league for sure. But honestly, it's hard to say. Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez could really help your team. And if you're in a situation where Kyrie gets injured, you're going to really miss them. The other side of the coin, if you believe in his health, you're getting the best player with Kyrie. I don't know that I would personally do that trade, but it's not a terrible offer. And Mateo de la Cruz Acevedo, what's the channel? All right, well, the boy told you. Zebra Nerd Herd. I'm down to join the league. Yes, if you're down to join the league, like I told you, go to that Facebook group right now. Look it up. Barack Lesnar Hoops Fantasy Basketball. It has about 150 members now. I want to grow that group. I like you guys. You're great fantasy basketball minds, and I think you would fit in perfectly. Vin M. Should I drop Toppin for either Michael Bridges, Rozier, or Dylan Wright? This is a 10. Michael Bridges and not Miles Bridges. There's absolutely no reason why Michael Bridges should be on your waiver wire. I would drop Toppin for Michael Bridges any day that ends with the letter Y. Rozier's going to have some value while Gordon Hayward is injured. But honestly, Michael Bridges, for the strategy that I promote to you guys, I'm just a huge fan of his. He gets you really high field goal percentage. He's a guy that's going to get you really good free throw percentage. He's going to get you three-pointers. He's going to get you steals, and he sprinkles in those blocks. He's somebody that I love pairing with Anthony Davis. We spoke about that earlier, pairing players you can pair with Anthony Davis. To me, he's one of those. Robert Covington being another one of those. You had to start going for those Swiss Army knife players because they're the most valuable players in fantasy basketball, those unicorns. Shout out to David. Thank you for being here. Adrian Z, pick 6. Who you taking pairing for 9-cat, 12 teams? It really depends because this is the most indecisive top 5 I have seen in fantasy basketball in a long time. It seems to be all over the place. There's a strong argument for so many players. I've seen Giannis go 8. I've seen him go number 1. I've seen Anthony Davis go number 1. I've seen him go number 6. And you can see a lot of these in the mock drafts I've done. I've seen Harden go number 1. I've seen him go number 6. I've seen Karl Anthony Towns go number 7, and I've also seen him go number 2. I've seen Luka Doncic mostly stay in the number 2 and 3 range. At number 6, there's a very good chance you're able to get Nikola Jokic. And with Nikola Jokic, you really want to pair him. I'd say in that situation, he's just so good across the board, but he's not a great steals and blocks guy. So I normally don't like punting blocks, but if I were to punt blocks with somebody, it would be with Nikola Jokic. And then I'd pair him with guys like Tobias Harris with great percentages, but don't get you a ton of steals and blocks. Domantas Sabonis, great percentages, doesn't get you a lot of steals and blocks. If you could still get some blocks, I'm not saying avoid them, but you definitely want to work on that free throw percentage and you want to build off the rebounding. And it's normally hard to find guys who really help you with rebounding while also having a really good field goal percentage, which is why guys like Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns are normally some of your top guys. I hope that was helpful. Big Kahuna 422. Who's a guy going second, third round who's a first rounder next year, i.e. Luka? That's a really good question. First rounder, I think Joseph Nurkic, because if he's healthy, he has the possibility of being worth a first-round pick. Donovan Mitchell is another guy you could get around that range who could possibly improve and be a first-round performer. He would have to get his efficiency up, maybe get the steals numbers up and a few more blocks. But I think he has the same potential someone like Bradley Beal to have top 10, 12 season. Some other guys, DeAndre Ayton is somebody else who you get really in the second round who I think has the potential to be a first-round guy. Bam Adebayo, similar reasons. There's a few other guys I can think of. Morant, really based on his improvement in certain areas, he's going to have to get more steals, definitely get his percentages up. But I really like his potential to possibly be a first-round pick. Dragic, all right, do you think Luguentz Dort is a good pickup because he's going to be the starting shooting guard for OKC? In a 14-team league or deeper, Possibly. I personally feel I can get much better players, just that are safer options that I think present higher upside. That's a guy I feel like I can watch from the waiver wire because he's not a household name. So there's no major risk, and if somebody does pick him up, he performs to a level where you're going to cry yourself to sleep because you missed out on him. Big Kahuna 422. Dragic or Schrader? Good question. If I had to choose between both, I'd have to say it has to be Dragic because Goran Dragic is the second option on that team at worst. And Dennis Schrader has to contend with LeBron James. He has to contend with Anthony Davis. He has to contend with Kyle Kuzma whenever he's getting minutes. There's just a lot of mouths to feed on that late. Oh, there's also Montrezl Harrell, so that's somebody else who needs the ball to be effective. I don't really see Dennis Schrader having the sort of opportunities Dragic has. Now, Schrader is younger, and Dragic is injury prone, aging, and his fantasy game doesn't help you a ton. But if I had to choose between both, I think Dragic by a bit. Nero Nemesis. I am the only one to hear the sound only from left side. Did I do something wrong? Could you guys only hear me from the left side? Is that what's happening? Did I mess something up? Let me know. Let me check. I can check the settings real quick. And again, there's the website down there. If you could check out the website. I hope you said so good. I don't want you so hood. You are not hood, sir. We live in the suburbs. You are not hood, Shay. I will embarrass you on this stream. Just kidding, buddy. Alright. Only the left side. Still figuring this stuff out, guys. Let me see if I can get this. No. Hello. Properties. I don't know, man. I guess sometimes things just aren't all right. Yeah, that was a pun. Yeah, you're not in stereo, bro. Look, I'm going to figure that out for next time because I'm here to answer questions, and it'll probably take me 10 minutes to figure it out. Sorry to mess that up. Next time I'll figure out how to make sure we are in stereo for you. Did you consider your headphones are broken, Rock Lee? No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure your headphones are fine. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. Properties. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna need more time than what I have right now. I don't want to drive my viewers away. If you have not yet, please, before I continue with these questions, oh, this is so cool. Give those thumbs up, subscribe, like, and share if you have not yet. Please, let me see them thumbs up. There's plenty of you here, and I know you haven't given me those likes because I can see the difference. Only 11 likes and 22 of you are here. And that's going to drive some of you away, I know. But it's fine. I need those likes. You see? They chose to leave rather than give me those likes. That's fine. You're a hater. Rozier, Larry Nance, Beasley, which one would you drop for Will Barton? I would drop Beasley. I think they're both going to come off the bench. And I think when they play, Will Barton has a slightly higher upside. Will Barton's not necessarily coming off of the bench, but it's a big possibility. I think Beasley's for sure going to come off the bench, though I guess that isn't secure. If I could choose both, I probably would pick Will Barton, though. Even now, it's good because you're talking loud enough. That's good to know. It's good to know. I talk weird, but I talk loud. Thank you guys who smashed that like button. To you people that chose to leave instead of smashing the like button. I'm hurt. I'm really hurt. Hey, Zebra Che, do you like the graphic with the thumbs up? AD or Luca, is Kyrie too much of a risk? All right, so here's what I'm gonna tell you. If you want to go just based on who's the best fantasy basketball player, if that's what you want to go off of, then you want to go with Anthony Davis. If you think Luca is amazing and you think you really want to see his games and you would just love to have him on your team, then go with Luka Doncic. I will tell you, there's so many times where I picked a guy that maybe wasn't the right choice, but it was the fun choice. He's the guy I wanted to have on my team. So if you really want Luka, he's a popular pick, and you're going to have to pick him most likely in that top 3, possibly top 2. Then go with Luka. You can definitely build around Luka. It's just a little more difficult to build around Luka than it's going to be to build around Anthony Davis, in my opinion. What's easier to punt in a 9-category league, 14 teams? Assist or points? I think assist is my go-to punt category. The thing with assist is, if you don't grab those guys that get you a ton of assists, they tend to go in the first few rounds. So the really complete assist guys, like James Harden, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, they tend to go in that first round area. Now, if you just punt assist, that opens up a world of possibility. For example, if you're low on assist, you might not consider Robert Covington because he doesn't get you assists. You may not consider Brook Lopez because he doesn't get you assists, despite the fact that they really help you in categories like free throw percentage, steals, and blocks that I very highly value, and they also have very low turnovers. And normally what I advise is, let's say you decide you want to lead the league in assists. What is the difference between you winning assists every week and losing turnovers every week, and winning turnovers every week and losing assists every week? It's impossible to calculate it to the point where you're for sure going to win turnovers every single week. But in general, my strategy is I punt assist, don't worry about them at all. To a lesser degree, sometimes I punt 3-pointers made. If I'm really focused on protecting my free throw percentage, while still being good at steals and blocks, normally that means I have to sacrifice my rebounding some. Because again, most of the heavy hitter rebounders are guys that are going to hurt your free throw percentage. There are exceptions for sure, and you want to seek those. My cousin is the dumbest person in the world. He picked Carmelo with the first pick, second round. Well, I don't want to talk about your cousin because Mateo de la Cruz Acevedo, you're a cool dude, so I don't want to talk about your family, but that was not the wisest decision. If you're listening to me right now, you definitely do not want to pick Carmelo with the first pick in the second round. All right, so I want to know which one of you guys is going to go over to Brock Lesnar Hoops. Which one of you guys is going to go over to Brock Lesnar Hoops and join this league that I'm putting together? Like, I want you guys to be in this draft with me. What's good? Can we make that happen? It's only $25. I'm keeping it cheap for y'all. I want to compete with you guys. Show me what you got. Is Kyrie a big risk? I mean, man, Kyrie has missed large chunks of the season. Last year, I traded for him. So I traded for him in a league that I was in because he was having an amazing season. He puts up Steph Curry-like production when he's healthy. And then he messed his shoulder up. He came back. He played for a few weeks, did great. I managed to package him in a trade for Nikola Jokic, and I remember being upset that I traded Kyrie Irving because he was doing so good. and then he got injured again and was out for the rest of the season. So that should tell you a whole lot. Why do I think Patrick Williams is going to be a good pickup? It looks like he's going to get some opportunity on that Chicago Bulls team. He started the preseason game yesterday. If you have not yet, you definitely want to watch my box score breakdowns, my nightly notables, because this is the work I do for myself. These are the observations I make for myself to make my decisions for my team. And I'm going to be doing weekly live chats so we could talk about the waiver wire and you can ask me these waiver wire questions. So look forward to that. But it's very important for you to watch these box score videos that I do because I start picking up patterns and I give you nuggets based on what I'm projecting is going to happen. And I tend to have a pretty good record of projecting things, which is the most important thing when playing fantasy basketball. Your projections have to be accurate. Luka Boo, that's my other son. They're twins, so say shout out to Luka. He also turned 9 yesterday, which would make sense because they're twins. All right, let's see. Isalio, how do you like my squad? Curry, Lillard, D. Mitchell, Jeremy Grant, Ibaka, Whiteside, Butler, Fox, Levine, Rubio, Beasley, Larry Nance, Rozier, Wendell Carter. Isalio, is that like a 4-team league? That is a stacked team, my friend. That is a really stacked team. I like that team a lot. You've been watching my videos, haven't you? But that's like a 4-team league. There's no way that's a 12-team league. Men. Eric Bledsoe or Kobe White 9 category. I have to say Kobe White. And I've drafted Eric Bledsoe a lot. But truth be told, Kobe White looks like at worst he's going to be the second option on the Chicago Bulls. He's the starting point guard. Eric Bledsoe is competing with Lonzo Ball. And, Brandon Ingram's going to get his touches. Zion Williamson's going to get his touches. J.J. Redick is going to get some touches. So when it comes down to those two, I'd say Kobe White. But the thing with Kobe is he can hurt your field goal percentage because he is a bit streaky. He's still a young guy. And we haven't seen the steals and blocks yet. So Eric Bledsoe's probably a more balanced player, but Kobe White has the higher upside for sure. Who has a better season this year, Kobe White or Markelle Fultz? That's a really good question. I think Markelle Fultz, man, that's a really good question. I'm really been impressed with Markelle Fultz. I think he's a little further along, and I don't think he's going to take as many three-pointers, which can hurt him, but it could also help his field goal percentage. I think he's going to be a pretty high field goal percentage guard, but so far he's also not a great free throw shooter. Kobe White probably has the higher upside, so he's probably who I would pick given the option between both. But Markelle Fultz is not a bad pickup at all, and I think he's going to have a very good season as well. Hold up, never mind, I am broke. Oh no. Well, send me a message and maybe we could work something out. Maybe you could pay me later, I don't know. It would be nice to have some of you in this league though, honestly. Otherwise, I have to offer it to people who aren't my subscribers, and what fun would that be? When is the draft for your Facebook league? That draft, I believe, is on Monday. It's Monday at 8 or 9 p.m. I'll double check, but it's sometime around that time. Actually, if you give me a moment, I can check right now. It is the Barack Lesnar Hoops Cash League. And it is at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday, December 21st. So the night before the season, that's when the draft is happening. I would love you guys to be a part of it. Winner takes all in your league. I haven't decided the payout. I normally don't like winner takes all. I like the winner getting the majority of the money, for sure. But the thing with winner takes all, I think the guy in second should be rewarded. I think potentially whoever wins the season should get some sort of reward, and maybe the guy in bronze should get his $25 back. So probably not going to be winner takes all. I tend to like that more balanced approach. And again, I'm keeping that $25 to make it accessible to as many people as possible. ESPN Points League, Paul George or Brandon Ingram? I mean, conventional wisdom would say that it's Paul George, that Paul George is who you take. Like Javon said, Paul George 13 easily. So that's probably the safer option. And he's really good during the regular season. He dealt with some injuries. He had surgery right before the season started and missed the first few weeks. The thing with Brandon Ingram is I really like Brandon Ingram. It's a possibility you may be able to grab Paul George and then Brandon Ingram a little bit later. But if you had to choose one, conventional wisdom again is Paul George. But if you took Brandon Ingram, I wouldn't be mad at you because I think he's going to have a much better season than people think. He's improved his efficiency from the field. He shoots a really high field goal percentage, really high free throw percentage now, which used to be a weakness of his. He's getting you rebounds. He's added some assists to his game. He can get you steals. He can get you blocks. That's just a really useful fantasy producer. And they both are going to share the ball with somebody who's going to be of high usage. So you have Paul George sharing the ball with Kawhi Leonard, just like you have him sharing the ball with Zion Williamson. 10-team points league, and yes, I watch your videos, bro. I can tell because that was a really good squad. Who are your sleeper picks this year? Man, David, I have a whole video of sleeper picks that you guys should definitely go check out because that'll be the best answer I can give you. But to give you a few, let me think off the top of my head. You put me on the spot. Some of my sleeper picks. Jared Allen, I think, is someone who's underrated. My extreme sleeper right now is Bojan Bogdanovic. You can normally grab him after 100, and when he's playing and healthy, he's a great fantasy basketball player. He produces a whole lot for you. He's a beast. He helps you with your free throw percentage tremendously. He gets a ton of threes. Doesn't really do much of anything else, but he is a potent scorer. I'm a big fan of his. He's a huge sleeper for me. Evan Fournier is another potential sleeper. Joe Harris, I think, is another sleeper. I really like his ability to hit threes and help you with your field goal percentage. Those guys are the ones I tend to draft really late since I focus so much on steals and blocks of guys early in the draft. Towards the end of the draft, I grab a few guys who aren't good at steals and blocks, but they're going to really pad my percentages while giving me low turnover. So that's why I like Joe Harris. That's why I like Bojan Bogdanovic. Some other guys, Jared Allen, like I mentioned. Serge Ibaka isn't a terrible player to go after. He should be starting for that Clippers team. So those are some sleepers for right now. I just traded Ingram for PG-13 and my whole league thinks I'm dumb. Definitely not a dumb move at all. Paul George is like 2 years removed from being a top 3 or 4 fantasy player. And injured last year. He's a great shooter, super athletic. He's a guy that can get you up to 2 steals per game and also hit over 2 3-pointers per game. He could shoot a really high free throw percentage. He can get assists. Definitely shouldn't feel dumb for that trade. I've noticed that in these leagues, people that talk the most tend to know the least. Are you guys able to see me? Is the stream not going on? Because Dino doesn't seem to be seeing me. I should be going. It still says I'm streaming. Can you guys see me? Javon, Paul George is your favorite player, man. Your favorite player gets a lot of hate. Does that bother you? Hold on. Are you guys able to see me? Stream is good? Alright, making sure. Alright, let's go through some more questions. Isalio, I might have to drop 25 to compete with you this year. Drop them 25, man. That ain't a whole lot. You might be able to 25, but you won't be able to if you don't play. I just traded Ingram. All right, we just talked about that. Hey, Barack, appreciate all the videos. Appreciate you, man. I'm in a 10-team category league, and I'm at pick number 9. Probably getting Trey in the first young, but I don't know in the first round, but I don't know what to do if Booker Tatum go right before my next pick. Thoughts? I don't know what to do with Booker. So, in a 10-team league, if you're getting Trey Young, I mean, you're probably, if you're picking Trey Young, I'm assuming you're drafting around pick 9 or 10, which means you should be able to pick again in a snake draft again soon. So it's very likely you're able to get one or the other. But if you missed out on both, there's still Jimmy Butler, who I really like. There's still Bradley Beal, who I really like. Or you can go for a big man that you probably wouldn't get a chance at later, like DeAndre Ayton. Bam, I always talk about, is available around that range. I hope that made sense. Excuse me, guys. How many games do you think Kawhi will sit this year? Clippers have 4 back-to-backs for the first half of the season. Well, that's definitely 4 games that he's going to miss. It is my understanding he will not play both games of a back-to-back for injury prevention reasons. So if you're saying he has 4 back-to-backs for the first half of the season, I'm assuming he might have 7 to 8 back-to-backs for the entire season. So that's 7 to 8 games, and that's not counting any other rest games they may give him against certain bad teams. So Kawhi comes with a lot of downside, but when he's playing, he's one of the best fantasy producers around. I'm biased because he's my favorite player. Yup, I think Paul George is going to have a good season. I think that too because Smooth Voltage said, I think that too because last year was dumb. Little injuries, and Ingram has to worry about Zion taking all the points when with Zion he dropped to 21 points per game. I did read earlier today that Stan Van Gundy is going to stagger their minutes. So there's going to be the possibility of Ingram playing minutes without Zion and Zion playing minutes without him. Though the other day they both had a really strong performance. I think they're going to figure it out. Just like Paul George and Kawhi have to figure it out. Actually, I think Paul George and Kawhi kind of play the same role. As opposed to Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson can play an inside-outside game, and Brandon Ingram's just improved a lot. K. Cardi, I see you. I see you too, buddy. Talha Assad, Barack, love your videos. I play in an 11-category league, 14-team head-to-head, and they have double-double and turnover too. Should I target all center and power forward with my first 3 picks? That's not a bad idea. I know in that format, I love the idea of Nikola Jokic because he helps you in so many categories, and he would also help you with double-doubles and triple-doubles. Someone like Andre Drummond, who's going to get you a ton of double-doubles and can get an occasional triple-double as well. Someone like Ben Simmons makes a lot of sense. Russell Westbrook, as much as I may criticize him in this format, he may be helpful as well. Not basketball related, but you ever gonna grow your beard out like Bron? Hey, I can show you some pictures. I've had a beard exactly like LeBron James. I actually was LeBron James for Halloween back in my 20s, which was like in 2012. So I probably won't show you that picture. I've had that beard in the past. I have a nervous tick, and you've probably seen me on my videos. I play with my beard, so it ends up being all knotted and nasty looking. So I end up just cutting it. I'm just soaking in all the info, brother. Thank you. I'm getting ready for my work league this weekend. Hell yeah, you take them out. I'm excited to see you take them out, man. Smooth Voltage, ESPN 8-player points league. My team is Luka, Jamal Murray, Paul George, Porzingis, Embiid, McCollum, Middleton, Schrader, Blake Griffin, Randall, Ibaka, Oladipo, Bojan Bogdanovic, Josh Richardson. That's a pretty strong team. It is an 8-team league. Oladipo, not crazy about him. You just have a few injury concerns I'm seeing there. So you have Porzingis, he has injury concerns. Embiid has injury concerns. McCollum is dealing with a broken back not too long ago. Blake Griffin, huge injury risk. Oladipo, huge injury risk. So Bojan Bogdanovic, as much as I like him, he just had wrist surgery, so he's fresh off of an injury. I think you loaded up on too many injury question marks, and that always concerns me because these games are not played on paper. They're played on the court, and if your guy is sitting because he's injured, he's not going to help your team. Does Paul George 13, does PG-13 play back-to-backs? That's a good question. I don't know if they want to go that route. I don't know that I can answer that. We can look into it. It would be important to know because it would definitely impact his value. If he doesn't play back-to-backs, that does mean the games where Kawhi Leonard is sitting, he's going to go off. Now, maybe out of fairness, the Clippers also let him do that, but I don't know because Kawhi does have a degenerative knee condition, which is why they have to give him those rest games. I don't know that Paul George has anything like that to justify them sitting them, and I don't think the league wants them sitting guys. But something to keep in mind with all this topic of missed games, with COVID still around, there's the possibility of a ton of players missing a week or two because they got COVID, being completely healthy. So this might be a crazy season, so prepare yourself for that. And you won't be able to see it coming when it does happen. Who would you pair with Trae head-to-head 9-category leagues? Trae Young, if you look at his production, is so similar to James Harden's production from a few years ago, which means you want to pair him, you want to do probably a punt field goal build, and there's a lot of guys you could pair with. I like the idea of Trae Young and Donovan Mitchell. Two guys you should be able to get who I think would be a great fit together, would give you two good scores. Trae and Bradley Beal, if you're able to manage that, it's another good combination that I would like to see. Is Kevin Porzingis a league-winning player this year? I'm assuming you mean Kristaps Porzingis and not Kevin Porter. The thing with Kristaps Porzingis, he's been dealing with knee issues and leg issues for years now. He's not playing for the beginning of the season. He's supposed to be back in January, but he already had, first there was the long break when the season was canceled. Then in the bubble, he got injured very early on. And now months later, he's still dealing with injury concerns. He's just another injury-prone guy, and those injury-prone guys really concern me. When he's playing, he really helps you. I actually had him in a dynasty league. I traded for him last year, and I let him go. I didn't renew him on my team. I ended up keeping Drew Holiday, and my intention all along was to drop Drew Holiday to keep him. But with the knee concerns, I don't know how high my faith is. When he's playing, he's one of those unicorns, and I love unicorns. But it's hard to say that he's going to be a league-winning player this year if he's not healthy enough to. What do you think of Mike Conley this year? I think his drop-off last year was really steep. And normally when you have a point guard that's over 30, that sort of drop-off doesn't tend to just reverse. It tends to either he might stay at the same level, maybe get a little worse. We have seen Chris Paul where he had a down year his last year in Houston, and he had a comeback season the following year. So there are exceptions to the rule, but Mike Conley's also not Chris Paul. I'm personally not drafting him unless he drops to like 110. What other questions do you guys have? If you have not yet, please. Yeah. Let's see it again. Yes. Please go ahead and do that for your boy. I would appreciate it. All What other questions do we have? Taha Assad, I am trying your punt free throw start in mocks, but focusing on some bigs makes it middle of the pack in points and assists. So if punt free throw makes you punt threes too, will that be a good start in a 14-team league? If you were listening to that video, I mentioned that the reason I no longer do the punt free throw build is because it ends up limiting you in so many different other areas. So you're not wrong. It's a tough one. It's really a tough one because, like you pointed out, the guys that get you a lot of rebounds and the guys that you tend to grab to gather a lot of blocks also tend to not be great scorers. And when they're great scorers, they tend to hurt your field goal percentage because they just take more shots. So that's why I like the unicorns, but then the unicorns, for the most part, unless it's a guy like Kristaps Porzingis when he's healthy, he can get you blocks, threes, and rebounds. It's really hard to build a balanced team when you're doing that punt free throw build, which is why I no longer do it, why I know a lot of people don't do it. You pointed it out. Taha Assad, for COVID season, is it smart to pick just one guy from a team so if they have to quarantine, your team is not hurt? I don't know that I can recommend that because if you're going to get a really good player, I'm not going to not pick a really good player just because I already have his teammate. And especially we don't know. We don't know how many guys have already had it. If guys have already had it, they may not be at risk. And a lot of guys may have had it. There were a lot of players who weren't in the bubble. We know the guys didn't get it during the bubble, but the bubble ended a while ago. So I wouldn't go that route. If you feel you can get a really great player and you already have a player from that team, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't pick them. Noah, how do you feel about Kawhi Embiid versus Beal Butler, Ayton in the early second? How do you feel about Kawhi Embiid versus Beal Butler, Ayton in the early second? Seems like it's deciding per game beast or guys who will play more games. That's a really good question, but honestly, playing more games could be the deciding factor. Averages don't really matter when your guys are sitting. So I think the safer bet is Beal, Butler, Ayton in the early second. You're going to have safer, and I don't think the upside of Embiid and Kawhi is that much higher that you should really sacrifice a whole lot of games played, because with Kawhi and Embiid as your first two picks, that's really hard to come back from. Unless you do some great drafting towards the end of the draft, it's really hard to come back from for your first guy and your second guy to be injured. What are your thoughts on injury-prone players in general? If you see them drop in the draft, do you take them and stash them? I'm not sure if the question makes sense. So, I mean, it always depends where you're able to get them. So if I'm able to get Kemba Walker really late, like 110, I would probably pick him there. There's some guys that I don't want to draft, like Blake Griffin, regardless of where he goes. I just rather not deal with the headache, even though he could outproduce that if not injured. You definitely should be using your IR. It's very important you use your IR. I grab guys from the waiver wire all the time who are injured and put them in my IR because, like I tell you guys, this game is about collecting assets. So let's say a decent player gets COVID. The team who has them doesn't have an IR spot open and drops that player, but you have your IR spot open. You would be insane to not pick them up and put them in the IR because you can sit them there. That doesn't affect your games played. And then the nice thing is, if you have a weak player and that player comes back, you slide them in and you've just made your team better. Something that I've done in the past and I really like to do, when I grab a stud off the waiver wire that's injured, let's say they're injured maybe a month and a half, and I know my team is strong enough that I can keep them on the IR and then it's not going to be an issue. Then when that player's ready to be activated again and I know, well, I have to drop a player, now I can make trade offers and include the player that I want to drop. And I tend to have really good players because I'm always working the waiver wire, so I'm not offering them trash, but pretty decent players because I know I get to activate the guy off the IR. So it's almost like a bonus. You can go to BarackLesnarHoops.com. You see this below. And in my trade article, I talk a lot about using your IR and how important it is for being successful at trading. You definitely want to check that out. Let me get a few more likes if you have not yet, please. That will help me get more exposure, get more views. The algorithm likes it when you feed it those likes so that we can grow this channel. And I promise you, if I ever get to do this full-time as a job, you will get the best of the best fantasy basketball content. No doubt, I will dedicate my life to bringing you the best fantasy basketball coverage. That is a promise. How do you feel about, we answered that already. Thomas, Simmons or Ayton in a punt free throw build? I feel that Ayton is better, but assists seem to be more valuable. In a punt free throw build, I'm definitely going to go with Simmons in that punt free throw build because the rebounds and assists, the steals and the blocks, I really love his production there. But it might make it harder to catch up in points later on. So keep that in mind. Excuse me, guys. Men, do you think guys like Christian Wood, KD, and Marcus Smart, who had COVID in the past, have antibodies to be immune to COVID again? I got them in a couple of teams, so I don't think they can get COVID again. As far as my understanding, it's if they've had it, it's very likely they're not going to get it again. With COVID being a new novel virus, it's not 100% known. There have been some isolated cases where people say that people have been reinfected, but it's been a very small amount of the people that have been infected. So for right now, it's probably a safe bet that they won't get infected again. And it's actually not a bad idea to target guys that have already had COVID just to increase your odds a bit that they're not going to miss time. And Isalio, they are probably going to get the vaccine. I think that's very likely that they do get the vaccine. I don't know how soon that's going to be, but that would definitely allow the sports world to come back in full if they're able to roll out the vaccine and the vaccine is effective and the players are taking it. But I did read yesterday, I believe it was, that NFL players are not going to cut the line to get the vaccine. So we may not see athletes getting the vaccine for a bit. All right, guys, I've been going about an hour. If you have a couple more questions, I will definitely try to get to them. If you have not yet, please do me a favor, check out the website below. Still looking for people who are interested in this league. We still have 5 spots open, $25 to buy in. There's a league safe link. Actually, I'll post. See, I can post the group right here. Make it easier for you guys. And it's an awesome group. We have a lot of great people in this group, and you're going to dig it for sure. And if you're on Facebook and you're over 18, definitely suggest checking out the Overstated NBA group on Facebook. It's also a great group. It's not a fantasy basketball group, but it's going to be a group that has some of the highest quality basketball conversation you're going to find on Facebook for sure. This, I just posted the group where you guys can go and join so that we can get you in that money league safe, pay that $25, 5 spots available. You get to compete with Brock Lesnar, and I will be covering that league in these videos. So you'll get to appear, and I'll make fun of your moves in these live streams. When is the next live stream going to be? Do you guys want me to do? How frequently would you guys like me to do these live streams? Do you enjoy them? I'll wait for your responses. No responses for me? That's fine. My goal is, the season starts next week, so my goal is to every Monday, probably in the evening, to do a live stream and let you ask me your waiver wire questions. and that will be and we might do that. I might also do a live stream and there's like a huge trade, and I want to talk about the fantasy implications. Live streaming is great. It looks really cool now that I've learned it a little better, and the channel continues to grow. So hopefully these will be happening very frequently, so be on the lookout for those. Thank you guys, and I want to thank all of you that took some time to hang out with me this evening, to come bring me your questions. I hope it was helpful to you. Thank you, Javon. That means a lot. Isalio, that means a lot. At least once a week during the season. For sure, once a week during the season, you can count on that. And I want to grow this channel. Any ideas you guys have, I really appreciate it. David Wu, this is good stuff, man. I appreciate it. If you feel that way, then share me with your friends who are not in your league so that we can get this channel bigger, so that I can get paid to do this as for a living. Yeah, I mean, that's none of your issue. I'm going to give you great family advice regardless. You can count on that. But guys, I'm about to end this. My Chipotle got here an hour ago and I haven't eaten it yet, so that I would be able to do this for you. It's been really fun. Until next time, this is Barack Lesnar of Barack Lesnar Hoops. Go join my league so I can bust that booty.